All right, guys, we are on episode 7 already of the Project Tremblay build. So if you've been following along, you saw we got the old stringers out, hull is prepped and glassed and ready for the new stringers. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
All right, starting to measure out the stringers today. I was very lucky to be able to get these outside ones out in one piece. The starboard side and the port side's over there on the ground. And basically, with these, no measuring required, minimal measuring, because I'm just gonna lay them out. Bottom of them still good. Trace that out, cut it straight out of the core, and set it in place and see how it fits. One small difference. You're gonna see this top edge is down, and that's on purpose. I have measured down 5/8 of an inch all the way across the top of this foam. Reason why is that floor, the existing floor, or the old floor, was 1/2 inch wood with an 1/8 inch glass on top. I measured that piece over there. And I am going to set the new floor on top of that lip that I left after I grind that out and clean it. So, raising the tops of these stringers up 5/8 of an inch, which will raise the new floor level up 5/8 of an inch, which will let it sit right on top of that. So when I go to measure the floor, instead of measuring to here, I'm going to measure all the way to the side and lay it straight across. I did also make sure to mark on the actual stringer where the foam ends. So obviously these aren't 11-foot sheets of foam, so I'm going to have to cut this, slide stringer forward, and mark from there back and join these together. No big deal.
Okay, yeah, and this is just as easy as it looks. On the stringer, run along it with the Sharpie, draw a line. And then just come back along it and cut it out. There we go. All right, and obviously that's just kind of balanced up against the side of the hull there, but I think overall, a pretty good starting point. You trim a little more on the bow there. So there's a little gap on the front. That just needs to sit down a little more. No problem there. Go ahead and trim and fit. Beautiful thing about this foam is you can cut it with a razor knife and sand it just as easy.
Okay, stringer one's dry fit finally. A couple little gaps, I mean, like 1/8 inch, or less gaps on some spots. Not a big deal. These are the Venacell stringers, so they will be essentially just a placeholder for the glass. The strength is going to be 100% in the glass on these stringers, so they're going to get a much heavier layup than if you were to build them out of, say, Coosa board or wood. So keep that in mind. There's gonna be 4 of them, a couple bulkheads. It's gonna be quite a nice little grid in here once I'm done. But yes, for the cost of what Coosa is per sheet right now, it is outrageously priced. So it is much more cost effective to throw an extra few layers of glass on these than it is to pony up for Coosa. Same process, got stringer number 2 cut. Dry fit, trimmed, adjusted, trimmed again, and we're ready to go. So, pull them both out. Plan now, I cut some tabbing glass for each one. I'm just gonna put a layer on this side, let it cure, flip it over, put a layer on the other side, get them, locked together and ready to be set in the boat and leveled, right, and I'm gonna bond them down, and then I'll switch to the inside ones. All right, we have the stringers refitted in the boat. So, hot glue gun, some scraps of the Vinicel that I had laying around. I save all these cutoffs. You never know, when you're gonna need them. Glued them all to the hull sides, as you can see, and then kind of went underneath of them all, with the level, and just made sure these were straight up and down. And now I'm just gonna let this glue firm up nice. And next step, we're gonna get some of this bonding putty, loosen it up just a little bit with some extra resin, so it kind of seeps under them really well. And I'm gonna fill it down one side. Same thing on the outside of these, so it's kind of sloped down, so it kind of runs under. And then just walk away until tomorrow. Let that really, really bond in and kick. And then tomorrow I'll come in, I'll put a thicker bead down the insides so it won't kind of run down, and start tabbing them in.
So let me show you this putty I'm making. This stuff it's thick. It's good stuff. It's sticky. I like it. But I don't want to be down in there pushing into those bottom of those stringers, because I'm just going to push them loose out of their tacked in hot glued spots. So, the lid anywhere. I'm just going to put a little, this is all polyester based stuff, so it is very compatible. So I'm just going to mix this up together, see if I can thin this putty out a little bit. So instead of being like a real thick peanut butter, it's more like a Cool Whip kind of consistency that you can kind of push in there easier without pushing these stringers over. Once this gets seeped in there and really kind of locks them in place, I can break all that hot glue off. Not really worry about them moving. That's what I don't want, because they're perfectly lined up where I want them right now. So you can see exactly the same stuff. It's just a little thinner now. We'll put a little more in there because I want it to kind of run down in there. There we go. That's the consistency I was looking for. Now this putty has milled fibers in it for extra strength, but if you don't have, putty pre-mixed, you can just take some silica, mix it in with your resin, and I just chop up extra pieces of glass in little 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch long pieces, and you can mix a little of that in there as well, give it a little extra strength, and just keep mixing it, working it up until it's the consistency you want before you catalyze it and get the clock ticking. This is like a kind of a melted ice cream consistency here. And yeah, as long as you haven't catalyzed this, you can add silica, add resin, add chopped glass, whatever you need to do to get it to the perfect consistency that you want. Okay, getting good here. All right, get this ready to go in. All right, got this mixed up pretty well. I don't have a helper here to film, so I don't know if it's really gonna. I'll get some close up of this in a minute. Basically, tool of choice here is going to be a chip brush. So I'm just going to. I'll start at the back where I have a little more room to move. So I'm just going to brush this down into that gap. It's a very small gap, but Rush it down in there where it needs to go. I just walked through another damn hot glue string. It's like spider webs. Move it over to the other side, and then I will come back and smooth it out better once it's all out of the tub, because I want to get this big mass of resin out of this cup before it heats up. All right, let's get in here and get a closer look. It's not the most beautiful thing, but it works really well. So got it nice line all the way down, no gaps, no seams, no nothing. Kind of was able to shape it into a little fillet as I went. So, like I said, the only thing now is to clean up any little goops and before they harden up and walk away.
Well, good morning. So I did take advantage of that fresh putty last night, and off camera I went ahead and put 2 more layers of the tabbing glass all the way down. I did one pretty much, you know, covering the whole bottom that overlapped about 1 inch, and then I did another one that came out about 3-4 inches, you know, kind of in the middle. So these are rock solid already, and we haven't even touched the inside yet. So that's the plan for this morning. Starting to mix up a little more putty. Going to throw some into a piping bag and get it on the inside seams here, and then probably go straight to some glass while that's still wet, so that it'll form right into where the glass needs to be. So let's go. We got a beautiful day. Got some clouds ripping by. Storms are coming, so let's take advantage of it today. All right, we are set up. Got some resin ready, a couple cups of putty and some bags, spare gloves, cups, sticks, rollers, you know, all the stuff. So plan is Remy's gonna do the putty, and then I'm gonna do the glass, right, Rems? Yeah, right. No, I'm gonna squeeze out the putty and then go right back over it with 2 layers of glass while it's all wet on wet, and got myself set up for about, I don't know, 45 minutes of glass work. So grab a drink, use the bathroom, make sure everything's prepped, and hopefully knock this all out at once. boy, 45 minutes. Time to stretch out my back. Anyways, yeah, looking good. A nice fillet, good bond, good layup. This was the inside from last night. It's about the same. Obviously needs to be cleaned up. It's all, you know, covered in little pokies. And these things, listen to this. Yeah, that'll go right into you. So, yeah, just kind of leave it alone for an hour or so, let it kick off, and come back out and probably start measuring for the middle too. All right, time to measure out these center stringers. So let me see if I can, hold on one sec. Go ahead and throw this on the tripod. See if you kind of walk through my logic on this. So the back 7 feet or so of this boat is pretty much flat, which means I just have a flat edge on this piece of foam. What I did was took straight edge number 1, put it here, made a mark for my height for where the top of the stringer is going to be. And then, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. Took a ruler, measured out, that is 2 3/4 of an inch, roughly. And then I transferred, so there's my 2 3/4. Transfer that line down to here, do an angle, cut that with a razor knife, and then that will let me set this back flush against the transom. Next thing I had to do was this part here is about a 1/4 inch higher than the rest of the floor because of all the transom tabbing glass. So that measures out roughly 6 7 inches. So measured out about 7 inches and cut a 1/4 inch off the bottom of that. So that will sit more flat. And then that gives us, and you can see besides, you know, a little bit of shaping and fitting, this stringer is just about good to go on the bottom. I'm going to do a little more, I'm going to sand a little more off right there on the corner where it kind of rounds over. That should fit a little tighter. And then let me show you what I did on the front side. Front side is pretty similar. This is a factory cut straight edge. So once you stand this one up, get it right where you want it in the middle, push it back. You can push this up against here and you can mark your level there. And then basically, besides a little shaping on the bottom, all you need to do is put a long straight edge on it, go from that line to that corner down there, and cut that flat, and you should have pretty dang close stringer that we were able to measure out in about 5 minutes. All right, we are in really good shape here. And yes, I did move it over to the port side, or starboard side, where I measured it first on the port side, but it's pretty much identical. Either way, I put it over here to see. So this is gonna work good. We can just trace this out onto the rest of that foam and copy this one. And then we'll worry about the hard angles. Okay, the front part of these stringers. Here's how I'm doing this. Taking these measurements that I got. Actually, let's start over there. See how I got these. So the front of these stringers, not going to be as easy to measure as the back because, well, the bow starts curving up, so definitely not as flat. So here's what I did. Set the rear ones in place and basically put straight edge across, you know, so then, and I had the port side one in as well, which is just sitting there. And I marked on the outside ones where these end. And then I drew little lines on these every 4 inches and then came back
and basically just set the straight edge across each one, and I measured from here down and from here down. Took two separate measurements. They were close. They were not exact. I mean, they're probably, a 16th to an eighth off on each side, just because of the variations in, the hull bottom, how much putty got in there, how much glass, whatever, how much got grinded out. So I did want to take separate measurements and make sure they were even. Boom, boom, boom. Got 13 marks all the way up to the bow here. And then we can go back over to the other table. So took these measurements, all 13 of them, and I've got them labeled, port side, starboard side. 47 5/8 of an inch. That's how far it was from the end of the rear part of the stringer up to where they end. So that was my first measurement, 47 5/8. Went ahead and drew up from there. Stuck a tape measure on here and put a mark every 4 inches as well. And then just took the little framer square here and just transferred those measurements all the way up, making sure they were straight. And then just took this, connect the dots. So now, run through it with the razor knife and cut it out and see how we did. There we go. This is going to be starboard, rear, front. Okay, see how we did. All right, hopefully that wind isn't picking up too bad, because it's, I had to close the back door. It is banging and slamming. So, anyways, there we go. I think we're upside down. It's like something's not right. There we go. That's a little better. Definitely got to do a little more trimming, but I think for the most part, don't fall. Yeah, for the most part, we're kind of right about where we want to be. So there we go. That side looks good. This side's about a 1/4 inch high. Actually, no, this is. Yeah, it's about a 1/4 inch high. No biggie. Trim that off, final adjusting, but hey, it's foam. We can do it with a razor knife real easy. Throw some glass on them and tap them in. And they all fall down.
Quick look at stringer number 3 going in. Got some bricks here just to help hold it in place while this putty cures. The way the hull angles down, I want to be able to stand it up straight here without pushing it up there, and then I had to push it up there without pushing this end up, and all that. So perfectly fine to do that. Of course, had the roofer square there underneath these cross beams just to make sure that it was perfectly straight up and down. And now I've just got a light bead of putty in there, just like I did with the other one. And I'm just gonna give that a couple hours to kick off. It's really cool, so I've been warming it up with the heat gun just to make sure it flashes off. And once this one is secure enough that I know it's not gonna move, I'll go ahead and line the last one up. Stringer 4 is in place as well. We have our 4 main stringers run. Putty's on. A nice little bead in there. Should do well Just need to let it cure overnight. I was going to put some glass down on this, but temps are dropping quick. It's supposed to be 5-6 degrees warmer tomorrow, so that's when we'll do this. But this is where we're at right now. Looking good. Next day, have the supports all taken out. Got 8 layers of tabbing glass cut. 4 on this side, 4 on that side. Got a quart of putty mixed up, a few gallons of resin ready to go. Plan, let me run a bead of putty down the inside of these, and then while it's still wet, go ahead and put 2 layers of glass on the inside, 2 on the outside, same thing over here. And it's just gonna be one big long glass fest while we got some decent weather. So let's get to it. Quite happy with that. Good layup. So, couple tips if you decide to do this. It's 68 degrees in the shop right now. Do not do this when it's hot. You will kick that putty so fast and you'll just be stuck with a mess. And yes, that is, I mean, you saw it pushing out. That's all putty under there, not air. Got a good bond all the way around. Rolled out a lot of crud. So I'm pleased with it, but yeah, not a hot weather exercise for sure. I was kicking that resin about 1% because even though it is cool, once it starts to build up on itself, you get a couple layers on there, it's really going to expand, especially down in that putty, you know, with the putty and then 2 layers of glass on it. You know, you're getting pretty thick down there. It's going to heat up fast and it's going to cure. So not worried about that. So now the only thing I'm worried about is walking away. And it really cooled off quick, but thankfully this cured up nicely before it did. So next step, pull this glue off the top where I had these little supports hot glued on, and then start making some bulkheads and figure out where the fuel tank's gonna live. Getting started on these bulkheads today and getting pretty close. I'm going to show you real quick how I made that one. All right, go ahead and pull this one out of the way. So what I did, took some scrap foam, hot glue gun, and basically just I'll bend this in place here. There, I had hot glued it to here and here. You know, measured my top points, which were real easy, just a couple dots on a straight edge. And then basically just glued these little pieces along the bottom, you know, so they were touching
Went ahead and set it on the table over there, put some dots on it, and then just ran across it with the razor knife. Got my rough fit, and I'm able to push this in place. We're pretty close. We are off on a few spots. So let me bring it around the other side and I'll show you what I did here. Looking through from the front, you can see definitely some gaps. It's not sitting all the way down. So the way I fixed that is I just took my Sharpie and I just laid it on the floor and slid it along. And wherever it leaves a mark is where it's touching, and where it doesn't leave a mark is where there's a gap. It's kind of crude. It's not the, it's not the prettiest way of doing it. There's no way of putting it. But basically then you can pull this out. And then you can see where you've got, some good contact and then no contact. So, just kind of sand these areas down a little here, a little right there, and a little up here. Refit it. Again, that's the beauty of working with this foam, is it's so easy to just mark it, refit it. You can also do this with, really anything, cardboard, MDF, Luan, whatever you want that might be cheaper if you're working with a more expensive core material. I happen to get a really, really good deal on this Divinycell. So it's actually most cost effective just to use the actual core. Again, there we go. A little more fitting, and we're in pretty good shape. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut this wood back here and there so I can pull this out, glass front and back on the table first, and then just slide it straight down in, so I won't be able to bend it anymore. But then I'll be able to slide it right in, putty it down, tab it all together, and move on to the next two. Bulkheads 2 and 3, cut out, test fitted, looking good. So next up, we'll go ahead and pull them out and get some glass on them and maybe get them tabbed in. See how much time I got. Got some cold weather moving in, so we'll have to see if we can make this work.
Alrighty, it's actually been a few days. God, we've had very cold weather down here for Florida, very unseasonable. So finally got the shop back into the 60s. Anyway, so put 2 layers of 1708 on each side of these bulkheads, and then went ahead and marked exactly where they're going to go. Drilled a little drain hole in each one. So these fit down in here pretty well, but of course they wiggle back and forth and whatever. So she took the little square there, and I use this as a reference. I know it's not probably perfectly flat, but it'll give me a good base, rough estimate. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of putty on each one of these to tack them in place. And once they harden up and they quit wiggling and stuff, then I'll go through and lay a nice fillet on each one and put a couple layers of tabbing glass on them.
I think these turned out pretty nice. I went ahead and buried them in a few more layers of glass, and I'm gonna go ahead and button this episode up. But stay tuned, because lots more coming. Got some pour foam on the way. We're gonna go ahead and fill these up in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for making it this far. Appreciate every single one of you, like I always say. And welcome aboard to everybody who's just finding me. Stay tuned. Lots coming. All right, talk soon, guys.